Hi, Max Lyons. Hey, I have just completed about 30 minimalistic one-line drawings, and I'm going to show you how I did it, mistakes I made, how you can do it, give you some advice on the pens that I use, the materials, and just go through this with you. It's just something new that I wanted to try out. Interesting. Inspiration. I woke up in the middle of the night and just felt like, wow, I want to do some of these minimalistic drawings, and that's exactly what I've done. So I'm going to go through it with you, show you the stages I went through and the end results. Stick around. I hope you enjoy it. Hope it might inspire you to give this a go, or just enjoy watching the process and what I have to say about it. Right, so what I'm first going to share with you is the type of paper that I tried this on. Now, this is very, very cheap paper because I knew that I was going to be practicing and I was just going to be like going through the sheets of paper. So many artists, and especially beginners, you can find that the costs of your materials, your brushes, paints, paper, canvases, especially here in New Zealand, they are not cheap. So this is from a $2 shop, and it is actually newsprint. It was relatively inexpensive. It was only a couple of dollars, $2 or $3 or so, and I think there's 50 sheets. So being newsprint, of course, it does tend to soak up the pen. Now the pen I was using to try this out, wrong one. I'm going to get the right pen. It's one of these ones here. This was the starter. You would have seen these. They're readily available in New Zealand. They're just a fine felt-tipped ink pen. Again, a fairly cheap deal, but it was just something to get started with. So what I've done here is I have drawn. What I want to do is have a minimalistic picture that would be A4 in a frame, and I've been watching some videos about minimalistic living. Not really my bag, if I'm really honest. I tend to prefer a bit of clutter. I like to have my bits and pieces and all sorts of things that I've collected over my lifetime, been in my 70s. So minimalistic living, but it fascinates me, and how people live in these modern houses, very stark, very lovely, very lovely. A lot of them are beautiful houses, normally big windows, great views, and just very plain sort of furniture. If that's your bag, good on you. There's nothing wrong with minimalistic living, clutter-free living. So these pictures that I've endeavoured to, I knew exactly what I wanted to produce. I woke up in the middle of the night, saw this, and I was excited about it. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Getting excited about doing some minimalistic drawings, but that's what art should be about. It should be fun, it should be exciting, and hopefully when you get your end result, it should be good. So now that I've got that little bit of a background out the way, what I did was I started drawing a basic design of sort of what I wanted of a flower. So I've written a few notes here, and I started with this. I went to that, another concept that I had, and then I went to this. Now this is where it gets interesting, and I will tell you the mistakes that I made. First of all, I drew this one, and then I drew this one, and then I drew this one. And I came back, and what you do is, if you're doing this sort of thing, come back and look at it, critique yourself. And what I suddenly noticed, which was really annoying, is that on the leaves on my flower, that I had gone 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. And I'd put one leaf on each side, one leaf on each side, one leaf on each side, and thirds. So, oh my goodness, not a good design. So I tried again, And then when I looked at this one, I had done the same thing. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and of course that would make 1/3 up here, or so. And so we've got these leaves at thirds, and we've got 2 on each side. Now I knew that I was going to have to get away from this. It's almost like frustrating. I wrote little notes here. Each leaf needs to be different in sizes and direction. Now you may also notice that these leaves, that leaf and that leaf, or certainly this leaf and that leaf, looking like some sort of a big hot dog or something, the same shape. And this one is definitely, try and zoom in, this one is definitely the same shape as that one. Not good. Repetition. Boring. Repetition in art can be very boring, and something I have learned over the last few years. So this one and this is a little bit different, different in shape and size to the rest, and that good effort there. Give myself 10 points. So coming up here, I tried something else, but then I found that this got really messy in here with the pen. Really messy. Big black blobs. Not good. Not good. So I come in here, and then I do this next one. I've numbered them. This was number 1. This was the next one I did. So again though, I've got these leaves coming off the same stem at the same place, and they are almost the same shape again. It's funny how the human mind works when we draw. So then I put down here line. Now this line here, and my name is Max Lines, appropriate. When I drew this leaf here, I've come and done that shape there, and then I've gone and done this one, and I've deliberately fitted it in so it doesn't fit over here. So I put a mark there and a mark there. Now I'm not happy at all with that, because you know, have you ever seen people when they draw hills in a landscape? They come along, they draw hills like that, and then the clouds fit the hills. That's not how nature works. So I gave myself a little bit of a telling off here, wrote myself a note. This is a good idea. Line was the same direction as the line below it. Not good. Write yourself little notes when you do this. Now, I'm just going to hold this up a little bit because I'm bending over and my back's getting a little sore. So there's the second one. What's the note on there? Better flow, pen must not leave surface of paper. Now, what I discovered, now this is a really, really important mistake that I made, and I learned something from it. If you make mistakes, please make mistakes, because every mistake you make, if you take a look at it, you can learn something from it, and that is how you're going to grow as an artist. And that is how when I get towards the end of this video, I'm going to start soon, I'm going to start showing my good results that I got. What I found was that with these one line drawings, that's exactly what they are. You put the pen on the paper and you draw. The old camera's battling to focus there, but it doesn't matter. You draw the one line, you come up and around and back and around and down and then back up and then around and around, and you work out. And now you give yourself a rule. The rule is you're not going to take that tip of that pen off that paper and do a restart. No, 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 no. That is a no-no. You're not going to do that. This is because what will happen is exactly what I put here. I put here better flow, pen must not leave the paper. So when you're doing these, you do not want to do a restart. The difficulty, I beg your pardon, of doing a restart is that when you take the pen off the paper and put it back on, you're going to get a black spot. One little black dot. But it doesn't you're not achieving this minimalistic one-line drawing. So here we go here. So here's another attempt, okay? Now, better, different shapes. Now, what I have done at this point is, concerning the pens, let's just come up here, I have a little stand up. Concerning the pens, I went down and I don't like spending a lot of money. Who does? But I went to a more upmarket shop where they sell better art gear, and I brought these. Now these are actually calligraphy pens, nice caps on them, and they were in New Zealand dollars about $20 for the 3, which is a little bit expensive in the way of buying pens. But some of the calligraphy pens, I thought, I'm going to take a risk. I need a decent pen, and I thought, well, I looked at the tips of them and I asked the shop assistant, could I have a little practice with them on a piece of paper? She was a lovely lady, she agreed, and I thought, this is what I'm after. So they're black, sort of a felt thing, but they are calligraphy. So I would recommend calligraphy pens. And then of course I had to begin to experiment with these pens. And what I found was I was using the smallest one with the smallest tip for this. So I did again, and then this time my little old brain here only put one leaf in, and I had the flow going good. But then I come up here and I let myself down. I put one leaf here, one leaf here, one leaf here, one leaf here, and basically we're back to the thirds issue again. So I wrote myself a pencil note, told myself off a little bit, okay, but 1/3 again. So here we go again. What have I done here? Now, I've come up here and I've decided I'm going to have a real free-flowing pen, and I'm just going to give it a go. And I had the thought, you need to have these thoughts when you're doing this work. Have the thought in your mind of what you're doing. You're trying to do a sort of a minimalistic drawing of a flower with some leaves, okay? You keep that thought. You see what, you remember what a flower, you could have one in front of you. But what I did was I knew I had to really free up my hand and my arm so that my arm and my hand would just flow freely. And the other thought that I put in my head when I did it was, I put the thought in my head, what does it matter if it turns out terrible? What does it matter if I only get 3 out of 100 in my score, when I score myself? I like to score myself. So I thought, it doesn't matter. I could do another, there's 50 pieces of paper in this block of paper. I could do another 30 of these and screw them up and chuck them all in the rubbish bin. It doesn't matter. The world's not going to come to an end. Who cares? Nobody's here. Nobody's watching me drawing. I can do what I like. If it doesn't work out and I've got to practice over and over and over again, what does it matter? It does not matter. So with that mindset of it doesn't matter, I just went to it. I did the lines, I came up, and this time you might notice a big difference. Whereas these leaves are not quite on the same plane, I come up here, I'm a bit freer, there's a few extra lines, and coming through here, and then my little flower type of thing at the top. But you can notice a huge difference. See, I felt that I was making progress. So I wrote on here for myself, I wrote on here, broke third. And I put on here, good boy. And I gave myself a tick. Encourage yourself as you go. Now, after that very encouraging one, the next one I did, oh my goodness, look at this. Another big improvement. Because I had more of a flow in my arm. I drew a big flower on there. I'm starting to flow and become more creative. I'm just letting my creativity flow through this and just doing my thing. And then I came through here. I'm getting excited. And away I went again, and I broke the thirds rule. That's not thirds. And I still had these two flowers coming out, but I'm really beginning to experiment and try different things. That one looks like a duck, that little flower at the top, but who cares? And I drew another one, and oh yes, that one there is really a big improvement. And then I put myself a note. Good, flowing lines, this is what I'm after. 10 out of 10. Maximus. So, there I go, encouraging myself. The reason I put this 10 out of 10 quite often on my drawings and things that I achieve is that when I was at primary school or school in New Zealand, the teachers used to come along and they would mark your work. And we would be doing writing and reading and all sorts of things, arithmetic or maths as they call it. And they would have a score of 10 and they would give you 10 out of 10 or whatever it would be. So here's another one. Now I'm getting really adventurous and trying multiple things. So I started off with 3 separate lines, so that becomes 1, 2, 3. But I decided this is not where I want to go. This is not minimalistic. This is clutterlistic. This is crowdedlistic. This is busy. I don't want to be busy. That's not what I am trying to achieve. So I put on here, trying multiple but look too busy, not minimalistic. I got a bit of a telling off of myself. So then I went back to the other extreme, another practice run, and then simplicity again. Lovely. That's what I am after, another practice run. And as I practice, you can notice, and I'm not boasting here, I'm not being proud, but as I just go through sheet after sheet after sheet of my practice runs, just letting the creativity flow, letting the ability to learn flow, not taking the pen off the paper. Remember I said not taking the pen off the paper, but you can see that something is happening. Now, this is when I tried a different pen, and it was a calligraphy pen that I had bought, but I wasn't holding the pen in the same position with the point. Now, the end result was that because I let the pen tip over, I got this really thick line. I didn't want a thick line. I just wanted the thin lines, the max lines. So I wrote myself a note again, telling myself off that I had to hold the pen in a certain position. And the next one, good boy. Now, those leaves there don't have 2 leaves at all where they connect. They all connect separately. Now, I hope that you will stick around, and this video's turning out a bit longer than I thought because I'm going to show you some of the end results. So, this one, but this is how we learn. This is how we learn. We practice by doing. We practice by looking, recognizing our mistakes. Now this one, you'll see some pencil lines through there. And what I decided with this one is the whole thing was there was just too many vertical lines. There's the main vertical stem there, which is really boring. And then some of the leaves are really becoming quite vertical. And so when I sat back and looked at it, I thought, no good. And I gave myself another kick in the pants and said, no good. So here's another try. And then I accidentally let the pen go sideways and had a very big thick line. And I put on here, hold pen for sharp edge only. Oh, some more instructions. So I've also put on here, best yet, tick 100 out of 100. Wow, I'm getting pretty generous with my encouragement and my marking. But of course, when you're marking yourself, you can. So here we go. Now we're coming up here. We've got some really interesting stuff going on now. really interesting practice runs. Really interesting. So I'm practicing. I'll just flick through a few more of these. I think that's pretty much the end of the practicing. And then I felt that I had nailed it. I really felt when I come up here that this is exactly what I was wanting. This is what I woke up in the middle of the night and saw. This is what I wanted, but I wanted it on more of a white paper, so that it would look really nice with a modern frame and a minimalistic drawing of a flower. So okay, now we're going to move on to the ones that really I changed pads, and I got some better quality paper, and I'm going to show you that. Right, now I'm going to just mention something that is important if you are going to try this out, because hopefully that you will produce a really nice one-line drawing that you can frame, and I would say that would be, that's the idea of it. Now, something that I made a bit of a mistake. When I got this pad, this pad has, I think, 50 leaves in it. It's pretty good paper. It's certainly better than the previous one that I was just practicing on. So this paper is on a kind of a ring binder thing, right? And you pull the leaves out. Now, there's a little bit of an issue here. Being an A4, if I produce something like this that I feel is really good and that would look really lovely in a frame, I have an issue with this. Unless I can find a A4 frame that has, the cardboard around here, or like a border, and then I can cover this, frame this, and then cover this. So I can't just drop this into an A4 frame. Now that automatically puts me at a very big disadvantage when I go into the store and start looking at A4 frames, which I could not believe the price of them. But anyway, let's not go down there, because you can always make your own frames maybe, or go to an op shop or something, I don't know. But this is not a good idea. What you want is quality paper, and you want that. You want your edges, so that's an A4. So if you find a good A4 frame, you can just drop your picture in and frame it. You might even put I think this work tends to lend itself, not lead itself. This sort of minimalistic work tends to lend itself to a really nice, modern, simplistic frame, possibly with a glass over it. So, this is going back to the drawing side of it. I got this paper. I had my correct pen. I worked out the correct size. Now, initially, it was a 0.2.0 pen that I used, and then I found that the 3.5 gave a better line. See, this is what you do. You see, you experiment, and then this is what I got. So I took this out because I just wanted to kind of see what I was messing around with frames in it, and then I realized about this issue. So, but anyway, aside from that, I have done these, and I'm going to show you what I try and hold the camera in one position so that it will focus. Actually, it'd be better if I get up here, wouldn't it? It'd be better if I get up here, and then you can see the whole picture. There we go. Maybe that will work a bit better. So there's my minimalistic flower, and I've done different versions of it, and this whole pad, which has got 30 pages, is completely full of these. I just did one after the other, all in one session. Now that one there, really quite like that one. What I've also done is down the bottom I put a signature with the year, and I've done it in pencil. I possibly may rub that out and make it a lot lighter, really light. I want the focus of the viewer to be on the artwork not on the artist or the signature. In fact, you may not even want to put that on. You may want to put that on the back, because it is minimalistic. Now when you're doing this, make sure your hands are clean. Make sure your hands are clean, and even like when you're doing what I'm doing now, having a look at them, because if you get a dirty mark on here, that defeats the whole purpose of a minimalistic picture, because it's minimalistic and you don't want spots on it. It's just a simple minimalistic, and the contrast between the black and the white is important. Now this one here, for some reason, I can't even remember the reason, I wasn't happy with it. I put a cross on it. That means it's a no-go. That one will not be sold. That one will not be gifted. That one is a no-go. And but many of these, I'm very, very pleased with them. Very pleased. And it took just that practice. Remember how I started out? I'm going to show you. Let's just go back. I'm grab the other pad. Let's just have a look. Let's have a look at some of my first efforts. Oh my goodness. This is some of my first efforts. Okay, there we go. First effort. Look at that shambles. Look at that. And then this. So there we go. First effort. Thirds. Wrong size leaves. Until I got the result that I wanted. That is presentable. That somebody would really, really love to have in their home. A minimalistic home possibly, and not necessarily, but it certainly would fit with that kind of a decor. So coming down, another one, another goodie. No, that was a baddie. Put a cross on it. For some reason that's a reject. You can do that. I mean, who rules what you say is what, you know, what the artist, you've got artistic license. That's your art, that's your say. The ironic thing was that I had a lady look at these and she loved them. This would really appeal to the fairer sex for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but I think women would like these possibly a little bit better than men. But why shouldn't men enjoy this sort of stuff? This coming up here, interesting with the flower, and I got really free. And I just let that pen just slide off and leave that lovely quirky little mark there, and that quirky little mark just does something for that. So because it says, hey, this is an artist, this is not AI, this is not some horrible AI soulless generated rubbish, this is an artist, this is a human being putting his pen on the paper and leaving his mark. Same here, coming up through here. So here we go, and we've got lovely, lovely end results, and a lot of them. So in other words, if I was at the market and I had some good AI, hang on, forget about the AI. If I had some good frames, A4 frames, which is the size, I could frame these, or I could just sell them as they are at the market, and perhaps pick up a little bit of extra money. That was a reject, that one. Pick up a little bit of extra money to pay for my $20 pens and all my pads. So just for this exercise, I've spent close on $30. $20 in pens, $10 on paper. So, you know, and that's running real budget stuff. So this is, by the way, slightly better quality paper. This is acid free. It does pay to get that acid free paper. Coming down here, nice little flower at the top, and leaves, only the big one's only on one side, one little leaf here, one little leaf there. Just altering every one that I did by a couple of strokes. Now this one, I thought to myself, oh, I'm drawing flowers, why don't I go and have a go at scribbling, make the flower like that, make the flower like that. See, as you go on, and it's a good way of doing it, having a large number of sheets of paper, and then as you go on, you can experiment and add and change things. And hey, remember what I said, if it doesn't work out, the world's not going to come to an end. You can always chuck it out. It just means that it's just cost you about 4 cents in paper. And so this one got really interesting. I really got the flow and the creativity up here, and then I got all whirly in the flower, but that's quite lovely. And so as I went on, so here we go again, something a bit different, a very small flower instead of the larger flower, altering the size of the flowers, altering the shapes of the leaves, altering the whole structure of the plant. Why not? Try different things, experiment, and just let your creativity flow. So I'm just flicking through these quickly. This has been a slightly long video. Thanks for hanging in there. But and then we come to the last page, which is the blank canvas. Well, it's actually a bit of cardboard. So there we go. And so I would suggest that if you want to have a go at line drawing, if this is not your bag, it's not your bag. But if you feel like, oh, I wouldn't mind giving that a crack, it's a lot of fun. As I was saying, line drawing is not limited. Think of this, think of landscapes, pieces of fruit, a banana, an orange, vegetables. You could do these line drawings really almost about anything. A tree, a shrub, a fence, a house, some clouds. Animals could work really well and do work really well in line drawing. I've seen some very interesting one-line drawing of cats. People, romance, people with their arms around each other. If you go on the internet and look at images, you'll see a lot of images there for one line drawing. And some of them are just tremendous. If I had a minimalistic type house, if that was my lifestyle, and it's not, but I'd have a house full of those. They'd be everywhere. I think they're lovely. There's something calming about them. There's something, because the paper is all open and it's just one line, and I love that flowing aspect of it. I think it's lovely art, and I've never tried it before. Never. Here I am at my age. I started painting when I was 18. Did my first oil painting. I've dabbled around, and I've been more of a hobby artist until more of my latter years, but I've never tried this style of drawing. So it's great to try new things. You don't just have to stick, because you paint acrylic, you don't have to just stick in the same old genre. You can get out there and try something new. So I hope this may spark something in you. And you don't know, this could be a whole market for you to sell your art and just do line drawings. Now, I'm possibly looking at giving a lot of these away to my YouTube subscribers, and as I'm developing the channel, as I have mentioned in other previous videos, it's a work in progress. You know, there's other things that I'm planning. I'm thinking website, I'm thinking a Patreon link, I'm thinking a lot of these things, but I'm not in a hurry, and I would just build the channel up, and eventually I love to give. I hope to be able to be a giver and give quite a bit of my artwork away. So stick around, subscribe. Oh, I was never going to say that word. Sorry, I apologize. It's a policy I have that I don't ask people to do that, because everybody asks people to do that. So I apologize for that. So stick around anyway, and come back and see some more, and sometime soon I might be giving some of these freebies away as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy my channel. I'm enjoying making the videos, having a bit of fun, watching all the other artists' videos. It's great. It's a great thing, YouTube. So all the best for that, and take care.